Over 25% of the pharmaceuticals on the market today owe their existence to ethnobotany, ethnopharmacology, and phytochemistry. Like plants, fungi contain chemicals. Many of these chemicals can be poisonous, others can be psychoactive, and others hold great potential for medical advances. I'm on a medicine quest, to find the Fomes fomentarius mushroom, also known as the hoofs fungus. Preliminary research shows mycelial extracts of this fungus may aid in the task of boosting honeybee immune systems, possibly ameliorating the injurious effects of the many viruses contributing to colony collapse. Pollinators contribute nearly $20 billion to annual crop value in the United States. And with many agricultural products relying heavily on pollination, such as the vast expanse of acreage that comprises California's almond orchards, it becomes clear that the conservation of pollinators is essential in preserving our economy and our national food supply. How long have you been keeping bees?
Yeah, I guess about 4 years.
About 4
All in
years.
all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges you've had with keeping bees?
Mites really have been the biggest challenge, I think. We've tried to figure out different ways to control them. And I've not had much luck at my house keeping bees through the season. Whereas my father-in-law has got them to last, through the winter, now on 2 occasions. But other than that, we've lost them every year. So I guess maybe 5 years we've been doing it total. I said 4, but I think it's been 5. This is the 5th year.
So is your father-in-law doing something maybe different than you were doing, or is he using any sort of supplements or anything, or what do you think is causing his success?
Neither one of us have used any supplements. I'm in the city limits, where he's in Mountain City, and it's very rural. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Personally, I think I lost my bees from spraying, because they went around the same time of the year both times that I lost them. And they were doing perfect one day, and then all of a sudden they were goners.
So this is a sassafras tree, and you may have heard of it. It has a very long history of use in various cultures and for different reasons. It's been used medicinally for quite some time. It has a stimulant effect, and sometimes people will make tea out of it. In addition to its preparation as a tea, sassafras has also been used throughout history as an additive to beer and to perfumed tobacco. You may be most familiar with root beer and the flavor that root beer has. Root beer, traditional root beer, has in the past been made with sassafras. What a lot of people don't know is that sassafras contains an essential oil known as safrole. Safrole can be processed into a precursor that's used in the manufacture of MDMA, or 3,4-methylene dioxymethamphetamine, also known as ecstasy. Now, most people will see this illicit drug as being a very, very abused substance, something that's not a good thing for society. But currently, MDMA is in phase 3 clinical trials to become a treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. For more information about that, you might want to check out maps.org. Sassafras was an interesting find, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I knew that if I was going to find Fomes fomentarius, I may have to trek further and further into the woods. After hearing about Paul's problems with his bees, I became determined to find Fomes fomentarius. At this point, I just wanted to get the mushroom, get out of the woods, and get back to the laboratory where I can culture the mushroom and hopefully, in the future, produce my own mycelial extracts, and maybe, just maybe, help out Paul's bees. This is Fomes fomentarius, also known as the host fungus, and as you can see, it does resemble the shape of a hoof. Now, Fomes fomentarius is also referred to as the tinder fungus, and the reason for that is that this has been used for thousands and thousands of years as a way to start fire. When dried, this makes perfect fire starting material, and it's very flammable. And we know this because it's actually been found with the remains of early humans. And it was presumed that these were there to transport fire, or a method of starting fire. Recently, preliminary research has emerged showing that Fomes fomentarius holds a potential for ameliorating various diseases, primarily associated with honeybees. One of the ways that you identify Fomes fomentarius is by looking at the bottom, and you'll see that it has kind of an orangish brown color on the bottom. And this actually has a porous surface to it. This is characteristic of polypores, and especially Fomes fomentarius. Now, the top of the mushroom is also a different color than the bottom. It's a lot darker at the top and more of a grayish, light gray brown towards the bottom. This is another characteristic of Fomes fomentarius. Another thing that you'll notice is that the mushroom itself is very hard in comparison to many of the fungi people are familiar with that are fairly soft. Now time to collect the samples and take them back to the laboratory. It is in the laboratory that I will be culturing this mushroom for future use, or for future cultivation. This is a very sterile process and requires the use of a pressure cooker or an autoclave.